Love this. I've kept it for years.
I love that.
This was a gift. It's rabbit fur.
I like faux fur.
Oh, I love it. Oh, these just plain. Oh, that's really cute. Scarf and a hat in one.
That's so...
Has this giant ball.
This is actually navy, except dark colors, but look for feminine kind of sequiny kind of thing. You don't get hat hair from earmuffs.
It's just got this is from Free People. So you don't tend to get hat hair as much with this.
That's cute. And it's got a pom-pom on it. Infinity scarf. It's so warm and cozy. Great if you don't like tying scarves and you just like
to throw something on. Has a little hat and you can make it into a mitten. Really cute. And black is very classy.
So now I have hat hair. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Fascinating Womanhood channel, where we talk about everything that has to do with femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships. I am Cherry Lynn and I'm here with my mom, Dixie Andelin Forsyth. Hi.
Hi.
So today we're talking about winter style. We wanted to talk about winter style because we've had a lot of ladies say to us that the ladies that live in colder climates, they say that in the winter they kind of, I don't think they phrase it this way, but in the message that we keep hearing is they're kind of giving up on looking nice because they're freezing. They feel like the most warm, comfortable things are not the most feminine things, nor the most flattering things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's another point to that too, and that is that for me, my personal style, we've talked about styles. My personal style is romantic, and there's not a lot of romantic winter clothes.
Exactly.
So, but if you're sporty, you're in more luck.
You're in luck.
Yeah, you're in more luck.
But even when it's sporty, it's not always the most flattering. You know, so I've noticed a lot of sporty things are black and gray, and it's like, that's all you have to choose from. So we wanted to go over 5 basic winter tips that we use in our family that can help you think about your winter wardrobe as we're approaching winter right now. We're in December. This is great timing to talk about it. For those of you out there that don't live in a colder climate, we're not really going to cover those who live in warm, like we're not gonna like talk about 70-degree winters.
Yeah, for me, growing up in Southern California, this is like I can't help but think years ago I would have thought, well, winter doesn't change that much. So you throw a sweater on those few sort of chilly days, but the coats and boots and all that, no.
So the ladies who live in warmer climates, I'll be forever jealous. I live in Chicago, where it is very, very cold. And not only is it very cold here, but it's cold for a very large part of the year. Probably 60% of the year, I have to wear a coat. And I have to wear different types of coats. So we'll get into that. But basically what we want to go through is these 5 tips. And we really want to talk too about how to be stylish in winter and be feminine. I think there's a lot of videos out there about, being feminine with your clothes and, a lot of appearance subjects, but not so much about femininity with winter clothing.
Yeah. And I live, just as a contrast, I live in Missouri, and we have more even seasons. We have milder winters. We still get some snow, but we're not like Chicago. We get more ice, but it isn't a lot of the year. It's not like Chicago. But Bob was born and raised in Canada. Some of you may know. He's a dual citizen now. When we first got married, after he finished school, we moved to Canada, and from Santa Barbara, California, that is a shock. It seemed like the snow never melted there. And so it was hard for me. I thought, how do people live up here? You buy your coats up there and they're made more for that weather.
Exactly. You definitely know what it's like to dress in extreme cold.
For long periods of time, yes.
Yeah. So the first tip that we have is we're going to talk about coats and jackets.
It ends up being the main item of clothing that people see when you go out. And if it's, like you said, other than the fact that how cold is it today, what do I need? You might need a whole full down coat if you
Yeah.
live in some of these climates during part of the year. Invest in one that looks good on you and doesn't just keep you warm.
If you can have a bare minimum, I'd say 3. I mean, there's some people out there that they just can't get more than 1 coat, and I totally understand that. But if you can try to get to 3, and you can thrift a coat, there's all kinds of places that you can get good deals on coats. If you can get 3 and focus on, especially for the ladies that live in a really cold climate, one that is for really intense cold, one that is for every single day, and then a dress up coat. That to me would be like the ideal. I think over the years, I now have like 5 coats that I've collected. I don't get them all at once. I've kind of collected them. The ones that I wear the most are my more casual ones that go with jeans.
Coats can last for years if you care for them.
If you are literally in a blizzard, if you're in a place where you get a lot of snow
and ice, like Missouri.
Yeah, you are going to have to get, realistically, a really, really warm coat. And the one that I have for that type of weather is black. I couldn't find one that I loved in a brighter or prettier color. Like having to have a big, long black coat just makes me feel sad because it feels like I'm wearing a trash bag. But no! But it's so warm.
Well, I think it depends on the coat. Years ago, we didn't live in Canada. We were visiting from the United States. And so the Canadian dollar was worth less than American dollar. So our money went further. Bob bought me this mink and fox coat, full length. It was not only on massive sale, but then we used US dollars. So it was ridiculously cheap. You know, I've had it like 30 years.
Yeah.
I only occasionally wear it because it's really not cold enough here to justify wearing it much. It's kind of fancy.
And a lot of people are against like real fur.
Right.
And I have a real fur coat that I actually thrifted from a thrift store for like $30. And I was like, wow, I was in my 20s. I get nervous wearing it because I've had people comment on it. And I'm like, oh gosh.
I've not ever had anyone do that yet, but I tell you, owning a real fur coat, I think no wonder people like these. They are so warm. People, and when I lived in California and you drive down in the Hollywood area and see people in fur coats, I think they're just showing off. I don't know why they're wearing it because it's way too hot for that.
I didn't think about it
It's
that way.
very, very warm.
You really have to consider the fashion and the function side of this. If you have chilly weather, to me, that's when you can really say, I'm going to go for my fashionable coat. And you can invest in that fashionable coat that maybe isn't quite as warm, but you're still going to need a layer. You have to throw on a jacket. You have to throw on a coat. That's where you can kind of have more fun. I've seen the coats with the bows in the back, like the really pretty pea coat. But when you have like last winter here in Chicago, we had a 30 degrees Fahrenheit below a week. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was dangerous to go outside. It was so cold, but you kind of have to say, okay, fashion wise, I'm going to look at my accessories, or fashion wise, I'm going to look at my hair, or something like that, because your coat obviously has to serve more of a function. When it comes to fit, like you were just saying, layering, I think you have to watch the sizes too. I think a lot of ladies, just when I worked in retail and I helped women with clothes, they would grab like an extra large coat. Maybe they were a medium because they say, oh, I just want it big. Well, maybe you go to the large instead of the medium because you have all those layers underneath. Going really huge with a coat is just not flattering on your shape as a woman.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, because sometimes we think, oh, this is not a very thick sweater. But I have some sweaters that are thicker, and I think I don't want to wear this coat because it's too thick with that sweater. So I can understand someone thinking maybe I should buy a larger coat, when in reality, it may not be flattering.
And think about where you're going. If you're going to go to the grocery store and you have just a plain kind of simple sweater on, you probably are going to want to grab the casual coat that's bigger because you're wearing it over a sweater. Whereas if you're going to go out to dinner, you're probably not going to wear a giant thick item to dinner. You're probably going to wear something with long sleeves that's fitted. And so therefore your pea coat that you put on or whatever that dress or coat is you have should fit. You don't want to necessarily go big with all of your coats because they serve different functions.
And one of the problems I've always had is when you're wearing a heavy coat and you go into it, let's say a mall, and you got to wear that hot thing around. What do you do with your coat?
One thing that I do, and I started doing this a long time ago, is I bring a reusable tote with me when I go shopping, especially if I'm going to be a long day where I'm going place to place to place. You bring that with you. You take your coat off in the store and you put it in and you carry it with your purse. So if you're like me, I have a big over the strap style like bucket purse. I just carry it with my purse. And so it looks like I'm carrying two bags. And sometimes even my husband will carry it for me. And I always bring a bag that's really simple so that it kind of goes with everything. And it's really nice because you don't have to haul your coat everywhere. And you can even, if you have kids like me, you can put your kids' coats in there if you need to. Because nothing's worse than hauling a coat around all over the place.
Or wearing it and being so hot. I remember once at Christmas time, I was wearing, I think it was just a big leather coat, and I almost fainted. And I think it was because I got too hot.
Yeah. And you're like, what do I do with this? Oh. If you are going to go for black, I know so many people, there's so many discussions about black and like, oh, don't wear black. It's not feminine. I disagree. I know you do too.
I do too. I do.
Feminine. You just have to think about what's on it. If you can find a coat that's black and you love black, but it has some kind of fur on it or some kind of feminine detail on it, or you could even add it yourself. You could add a brooch. You could add something to it to make it feel a little bit more feminine. I actually think it's really classy to wear black.
Black can be very sophisticated
I agree.
too. So don't eliminate black just because it's a color.
Okay, the next one is we're talking about your boots. So same thing with the coat in that if you're living in a climate where like you have 4 seasons where you live, I have majority cold. I still think that both of us have to think about several styles of boots for the different types of weather that we're in. I know for me, I'm in a ton of wet, just tons of time where the weather is wet, whether that be snow, ice, rain, cold rain. Not having a boot that is really great and water resistant doesn't even really make sense because otherwise you are going to be spending a lot of time cleaning your shoes. You're going to get your feet wet. It's not going to look great. It's not going to feel great. You're also going to probably go through a lot of boots because you're going to ruin them if they're not right for the snow.
Well, and if you're like me, I get really easy cold feet and cold hands. So my boots, if it's really cold, I need to be warm because even if I'm wearing a warm coat, if my feet and hands are cold, then I'm cold.
And it's tough because boots are tricky to find at a good price. You have to really investment to buy a good boot. And I know there's a lot of brands that I really love that I'm kind of loyal to. I really love the Luck brand. I love Sorel. But you can get inexpensive versions of a lot of those more expensive boots that work just as well.
Well, and you can wear, like I like to, I got these last year.
Yeah, those
leg warmers. They go for on the top of boots, but they actually help your legs stay warmer. You can wear, I got these at Anthropologie, long boot socks with ruffles on the top.
Yeah, those
and they really help my feet be warm. Plus, they go over the top of your boot. They show, so even if plain boot looks prettier. Now this is my style, it may not be your style, but no, it's just an idea that you can keep your legs and feet warmer even if it's a shorter boot or a taller boot.
Absolutely. I think that's a good point in that when you're, let's say you like this ankle style, but you're like, oh, I don't know if it's going to be warm enough. Those are great alternatives to kind of add on to your boot. When it comes to snow, it's really challenging to find a feminine boot when you have, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow outside. It's like, well, I need something that I won't slip on.
In other words, you don't want stiletto heels.
But even just a basic nice dress boot, like let's say you have to wear a nice boot to work. That can be really challenging. I know when I worked in an office and I had to look really professional, I would enter the building with my snow boots and I carried, same thing as with the coat, kind of same way of thinking. I carried my shoes in a bag and I had to swap out when I got up to my desk. You know, if you are going to wear your dress shoes in the snow, that's fine, but you might find that you're going to ruin some of your nicer shoes.
Well, you might find you hurt yourself when you slip and fall if it's very slippery. And I have done that when I go out with my fashion shoes or boots, and then I hit an icy patch. It's not good.
What I see a lot of ladies wearing for outside, especially if it's wet, is they kind of that mentality of I'm just going to give up because I have to be safe and I have to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. You can find really pretty styles of boots that are functional and practical for snow that still have style that have fur. And like you said, you can add the leg warmers or
Well,
whatever.
leg warmers can be incredibly cheap too. So you can get that and add to it.
Keep in mind that the cheaper the shoe, you might have less wear out of it, and you're also going to deal with noises. So you know that sound when someone walks in a store after they've been out in the wet, and they're like, oink, 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 oink. Like a lot of cheaper shoes tend to make those noises. I think one of our tips would just be making sure that you wipe them when you enter a store. I know that's really small, but when you enter into a house or a store, don't forget to wipe them, because you might even make that noise with your nicer shoes if you don't wipe your boots.
I know. And some people don't seem to even notice it at all, but I'm always very aware of sounds of shoes.
Well, I can't stand it when I'm walking in a store and I'm making that noise. I just feel like everyone hears me coming, everyone sees me coming, and
start looking at you. Yeah, I don't like it either.
I don't feel like my best self when I'm squeaking when I'm walking. And another thing too to keep in mind with shoes, if you are going for more of the budget friendly shoes, try to look at the fasteners. I think, when you see a fastener on a boot and it's like a pretty metal or an imitation metal, that's probably going to look so much better than any kind of Velcro closure. And the Velcro sound, it's just not quite as feminine. It's just, if you can, I know the sporty styles, like they love Velcro and that's fine, but like just keeping in mind that like Velcro tends to not look quite as feminine.
I have actually taken really cute buttons and hot glued them on a Velcro thing so it looks more like a fastener.
Great idea. I never thought of that.
It works fine because it isn't actually functional. It's just looks good.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Okay, next is the sweater. You're wearing a sweater. I'm wearing a sweater. What kind of sweaters do you like to wear?
Not scratchy ones.
Same.
I guess I have sensitive skin. I cannot stand sweaters that are at all scratchy, or when the tags scratch the back of your neck. I don't tend to like really thick sweaters because if I'm home most of the day, I'm too warm. If I was going out all day, I might be comfortable like shopping with a thicker sweater, but then I have the coat on top of that. I like thinner sweaters as a rule.
Yes, I don't own any thick sweaters because of the same thing. This is about as thick as I can get. This sweater's not very, so you can see.
No, it's not very, yeah.
I do actually own some thicker cardigans, like kind of chunky cardigan feel, because like you kind of just spoke to, you can remove it, you can take it off, when you're in the house, if you get hot, you can just take it off. So I really like a thick, kind of chunky, loose cardigan to throw on. I think it's a great kind of alternative to be able to say, oh, I want to be cozy, it's cold, but okay, I'm cooking and now I'm getting really hot.
Well, when I'm at home, like now, I cook a lot. And so, wintertime means long sleeves, which it should be. I have to have something I can push up or roll up. And so that it's just a real practical thing. I look for things that have the flexibility of being able to sleeve either pushed up or rolled up without wrecking it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think going for something that you can push and roll up is tricky sometimes.
It is.
Because you're either looking at this giant kind of trash bag looking silhouette that you can move up, or you're looking at something really tight and fitted that you can't roll up. So that's what I love about cardigans, is that you can, they tend to kind of be loose and more forgiving, and you can still play with them. Whereas the giant sweater kind of thing that I think a lot of women tend to go for just because they're cold is not going to give you the best shape as a trying to look more feminine. And it's also not going to give you a lot of that flexibility.
Well, I think sometimes we think that giant sweaters is going to be flattering. It can be, depending on your body shape, if you wear really narrow pants or leggings with them, but it can also just be big and lumpy.
You see these supermodels wearing them and you think, oh, they look so cute in that. But you got to remember, they're like a toothpick, and they're 5'10" or something, and like they can.
They're like size 0. Yeah.
Yeah, they can pull off anything, and it's just, I think that we see those things and we think, oh, that looks great, and then the reality is that when you put it on, you kind of don't really. You just lose your shape, and there's no need to lose your entire shape in the winter.
Some of those models can wear a giant sweater and wear a belt with it and look good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Most of us forget it.
If you're really struggling with sweaters and you really want to wear one, but you just can't find one that you really love and you can't just decide, I think you no fail, go for the tunic. The tunic style, there's so many different lengths, there's so many different fabrics, there's so many different patterns. You can wear them with jeans, you can wear them with leggings. It's just the easiest silhouette, I think, to go for and get a color that flatters you. The next one is accessories.
And it's something that there's a huge variety, and they can be expensive, but they're usually not.
They're usually not. I agree. You can really get some amazing cold weather accessories at those discount, like TJ Maxx and Kohl's, those kind of stores. Take good care of them and you can wear them for years.
For years, yeah, you can have quite a collection over time.
I think one of the things that really jumps out to me about accessories when we're talking about winter is that they can always be the feminine item that you add with your coat that maybe isn't the best. Like, let's say let's just go to the blizzard thing again. Let's say there's a blizzard outside and you have your huge, coat that keeps
down-filled coat that's very nice, but it's not that much of a fashion statement.
Yeah, but then you can put on a really pretty hat and a really
scarf,
and you can put on whatever it is that you love. It will instantly turn your look into a more feminine style. And who doesn't want to feel, we all want to feel more feminine. It makes us feel better. So
when you feel pretty, no matter what's going on in your life, you always can handle everything better if you feel attractive. It's kind of a core base for each of us. When you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you just think, oh, the world is so messed up. But then when you get, well, it's still kind of messed up, but when you get dressed up, you feel like you can handle anything that comes better. Not completely, but better.
I used to get really discouraged with winter accessories, mainly because of my hair. I have really fine, kind of weak hair. When I fix it, it just feels like, I fixed it, but then you go outside and you're like, oh.
So
if you put a hat on to protect it, you have hat hair.
Yeah.
So when I discovered earmuffs, like really big warm ones, when I discovered how to wear those with my hair, it just changed everything, because I felt like I could actually be warm and have my hair down if I wanted to. I've also had to learn how to braid my hair, because sometimes when you're wearing these hats and you have to wear a hat because let's say it's raining or something, you got to put on a hat. Having a braid can allow you to not have that horrible hat hair. And it's feminine to braid your hair.
Some of us have really, really short hair, and we need to wear a head covering to protect our head from being too cold. But for those of us who have more hair and don't keep it super duper short like a guy's, we can get away with not necessarily wearing a hat.
For girls with short hairs, those cute warm like headbands, have you seen those?
Oh, I forgot to get some out. Yeah, those are really cute. I wear them to the gym. And some of them are super wide and they almost cover your whole hair up, especially if you wear your hair in a ponytail or just back. And some of them are so pretty. That's a good tip.
What we were talking about earlier with black, if you do go for a lot of black and you therefore want black in your accessories, just consider the idea of faux fur, sequins, lace, bows, anything that you think could add some kind of texture elements that will help you to feel more feminine. You know?
And there's a lot. There's people often post pictures of today's fashion. They show all these ripped jeans, and today's fashions are so much more than that. There are so many beautiful clothes and styles. And one thing I appreciate about today is there isn't one thing that's in style. There's a lot of things that are in style, and you can pick what works for you. And it doesn't have to be the shredded jeans if that isn't your thing. There's so many more choices than that. That isn't all that there is.
I agree. And there's so many options now for affordable clothing, affordable accessories. Gosh, our ancestors, what did they have to do? Do they have to sew them all?
Even when I was growing up, women sewed a lot of their clothes and their children's clothes because they were expensive and it was cheaper to make them, but it isn't really true now. Patterns nowadays can be $15 or $20 for one pattern. And then you have to buy the fabric. Then you have to hope that it fits.
And most of the things we're talking about today are about investment pieces. You're going to get what you pay for with your boots, especially for winter. You're going to get what you pay for with your coat, especially for winter. If you're going to wear it year after year, you want to spend a little bit more money on it. With sweaters, I think you can go both ways.
At thrift stores, you could buy a down-filled coat for very
$10.
little.
Yeah.
For very little, and have a really good coat if you're good at buying that way, or even at garage sales.
Well, but even places like Old Navy, if you have a coat that you get at Old Navy for $10 and the zipper breaks, you have to buy another coat. Or if you're really skilled, you can replace the zipper. But man, that is...
Well, zippers can be $10.
Exactly. They're $10, but the time to fix that is just, oh.
Well, and you have to have the skill to do it. You have to have the skill to do it.
And my son's coat, someone handed one down to us that was a little bit less expensive. And we put it on after wearing it maybe 3-4 times. The zipper broke. And I was just like, no, I can't.
I know, that's so frustrating.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is that, you do get what you pay for with some of these. And having to buy them twice is sometimes even more expensive. The next one is layers. I think layers are... If we had to organize these in order of most important, to me personally, my style, layers would be the most important, because if you can learn how to layer appropriately throughout all these different seasons, you're never going to be cold. You're always going to have options as far as, the morning was cold and now it's warm. And it also is so much more stylish when you can learn how to layer.
And I think you mentioned not long ago, vests, how good they are for layering, because they're easy to take off.
Vests are my favorite layering piece, other than maybe like a tank top, which I think everyone knows to do that underneath your sweater. But putting a vest on over even something as thin as this is almost acting as a coat, depending on the climate. If you have 20 degrees or something outside, that's a little different. I can actually go out in a sweater with a vest and be completely warm, and I don't have to worry about being hot when I'm shopping. And it looks nice. A layer, to me, instantly gives you more style, different patterns. I have a vest that's pink that I can throw on. Let's say I have leggings on and just a plain top, I throw on my pink vest, and I suddenly just kind of feel like I look a lot more stylish.
Well, actually, leg warmers for your legs are kind of a layering.
They are a layer.
You can take off when you get inside if it's too warm, and you can put them on, and they're inexpensive.
The days where it's freezing outside, you can wear a vest under your coat, and you can take your coat off and continue to wear your vest. I think vests are so great. There's furry ones. There's patterns. There's so many fun styles out there. Like you said earlier, we have so many options right now when we go shopping. I probably have more vests than I have jeans, which is crazy to think about. I've collected them over the years because I've just learned, this is so much better because I get hot really easily, and wearing a vest to me just kind of like, it just fixes all of my temperature problems that I have.
And I get cold really easy, so it would help me.
Yeah, to wear it underneath the coat. And you can get sweater vests. You don't have to get anything puffy. You don't have to get fur. I have a suede vest that I really love with a little bit of fur on the collar. And I also have a vest that's made out of cotton, and it has a Sherpa collar. And that one is so light. I mean, it barely feels like you're adding that much, but it's a good one for the days where I feel like everything I'm wearing is plain and I want something a little bit more special. I think too, when you're talking about really cold, this is probably going to take you to your Canada days. Those long, what do they call them for women? Are they still called long johns?
I think so. The thermal underwear, I don't like wearing them because I feel like they make my pants tighter, kind of like really thick socks makes your shoes tighter.
The idea is to wear them under a dress, though.
Right. Leggings.
I personally prefer tights under dresses in the winter with long socks. So I'll do like what you showed. I have some really fun knit socks that I'll put over my tights, and I'm completely warm, but I get warm really easily. So for the ladies that get cold easily, I think that's where you go to the thermal route, or the fleece lined. They have fleece lined leggings now. Those are really popular. Those are really nice. But I agree with you. Other than a dress, I don't know what you would put, or a skirt, I don't know what you would put that under to be flattering.
Well, like you mentioned before, the tunic is like a short dress. If you want to have the feeling of a dress, a tunic that goes 3/4 of the way down to your knee is a feeling kind of like a dress.
That's true.
In the 60s, that was called a mini dress. So,
Oh.
so give it another name and it's sort of the same thing. It looks like, I look and I think, oh, 60s mini dress. And
Yes.
you can wear tights with it and you don't have to abandon it during the winter because it's cold.
And some ladies just absolutely despise tights. I worked with a lot of ladies that were like, no way, I'm not wearing them. They're uncomfortable. That's fine. That's just an option for if you want to do dresses. And, you know, you could do leggings. I used to do that when I would have to walk in the cold to work. I would wear a dress. I would wear leggings underneath my dress. And then when I got inside, I would switch it. So you could do that too.
Well, leg warmers look really good if you're wearing a shorter dress or a tunic and you wear tights or leggings, you can wear long leg warmers and that actually can be very flattering.
If it's your style, it can look really nice. When you're talking about layering, I think it's so great if you can play a little bit with your mixing. So if you have a tendency to go for these, you know, really warm, big sweaters, can you layer that with a really pretty floral skirt? I know that sounds like maybe outside of the comfort zone for some ladies. Mixing textures and patterns can really give you a more feminine look. I mean, I love it when I see florals and stripes mixed. I think if it's done the right way, it looks so pretty. And to me, when you're layering like that, you not only are you warm, but you're getting a fun kind of burst of fashion in what you're wearing.
In FW, we say emphasize the differences. So that's what you're talking about with you and men. Or something your husband or your guy would probably not be caught dead in. And
Right.
it's a good contrast.
I really love too for winter. I really love a mix of like a fresh floral with something more wintry, like a cable knit. I think that looks so fresh and so pretty. And I think a lot of women are afraid to wear argyle because they think that that's manly. But there's some really beautiful things out there for women that are argyle. They'll make you feel so much more feminine and fun. You don't have to just go for that solid black thing or that solid gray or that solid white. And like, you just kind of...
Well, actually, we've talked about this before in Fasting Womanhood. If you wear something that's traditionally kind of masculine and you pair it with something decidedly feminine like your hair, your makeup, the rest of your body, it's actually the contrast between the masculine and feminine in one look, which is actually very attractive.
You know, it's not for everyone. Don't be afraid to kind of play with some of those patterns in the winter. A lot of people think, oh, it's florals, that's only for spring or that's only for summer.
That's not true.
Not true at all. You can actually play with it when you pair it with other things. Those were all the 5. I think the only other sidebar about all of these things is just, we've talked about it a little bit, but just color. If you're somebody that is more on the fair side and here you are in winter, and it's not helping that you're already on the fair side and then you're going into winter. I'm one of those people. I'm more fair. Try to select your winter clothing and style in the jewel tone category because that's going to be so much more flattering on that fair skin that you're going to have for the winter. And of course you can, you know, play with makeup and all kinds of different things to warm up your skin. But when we're specifically talking about your wardrobe and your style for winter, color choices that you're making, they're just so important to your look for the season. I mean, at least for me anyway. I know I'm not going to get any sun.
I wanted to say too that one of the reasons I was excited to do this is because some of you may not know Cherry was not just in retail. She was very good at this for years at a very kind of a high-end store. Had a lot of experience with a lot of different women, helping them find clothes that look good on them. That's why I wanted her to do this and kind of lead out in this because this is her specialty.
Well, I just love clothes and I know Dad is as well. So it's I got it from someone. He taught me a lot of those things. I know that's not the most traditional way of looking at it, I guess, that your dad would teach you, but Dad really taught me how to shop and he taught me how to put things together.
Well, he also worked for years in a menswear store before he went to graduate school.
I also worked in menswear, so I know a lot about all different types of clothes, and I love clothes. I love talking about style. I think it's really fun, and I found that dressing mannequins for so many years, it taught me a lot about silhouettes and outfitting, and there's so many women out there that a mirror is not enough. They need someone to help them dress, and I think that's the whole goal of the video today is that we wanted women to kind of get some ideas. I know that we're not there in your living room giving you specific ideas for yourself, but giving you ideas that are a little outside the box.
Well, the whole point of this is for you individually to feel the best about yourself on any particular day that you can, no matter what the day is. If you can find little ways, especially if there's smaller ways, to feel like you look good when you go out and are ready to handle your day, it'll help you handle everything that you come in contact with that day.
It's a small thing, but it's a big thing.
Yeah,
You know?
it is. It is.
Well, thank you so much for talking about this with me today. It was really fun to have a time to
Thank
talk
you for
about
giving us some of your expertise.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for watching us here today. Don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps our channel grow every time you hit that button. We're here every week. We talk about so many different things that have to do with femininity and relationship. Definitely check back with us next week. I'm also attaching a link below to Dixie's books, our workbooks, all the places you can find us on social media. Should definitely check that out, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.